Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Immigration with Kathia, a program where I, Kathia Quiros, immigration attorney, um, tell you the news about immigration, teach you immigration laws, answer your questions, but most importantly, try to spread information to make sure that immigrants take the best decisions while they are informed. So today we're going to talk about the news that came out this weekend about the government sending Customs and Border Patrol officers to do the job of ICE officers. And so this is our English show. So if you want to ask me a question, please make sure you write it down in English. If you want to do it in Spanish, please know that I have a show that goes every day at 8:30 in the morning on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. It's live too, and we will answer your questions in Spanish during those times. Okay, so today we're going to talk about the news and how does it really impact us, the immigrant community, and how much fear and anxiety this causes, and if this is real, if this is something we really need to worry about. Okay, so don't forget to share please in all of our social media platforms. Let's talk about the different departments of the government to see why is that we have this issue. So the first part we need to discuss is, why are we having this news? Because there is a reason behind all of this, right? So the first reason is because the government is fighting with some of the states in the United States. And why are they fighting? Well, they're fighting because some states have decided not to cooperate with the government when talking about immigrants. So some states like California, Chicago, New York have decided that they're not going to help ICE deport immigrants. Okay? And those states that have said, okay, we're not going to help you, ICE, those states are called sanctuary cities. So that's the first thing you need to learn. What is a sanctuary city? A sanctuary city is a city that has decided not to help the government deport people just because they're undocumented. Now, the government, the federal government, is the only one who has the job to enforce immigration laws. And the government has a department called the Homeland Security, Department of Homeland Security. And the Department of Homeland Security has many different offices. One of the offices of the Department of Homeland Security is USCIS, which is the office that provides green cards, that provides immigrant visas, that provides employment authorizations. So this USCIS office, right now, it's not an issue. We're not talking about them. The other office is Customs and Border Patrol. Customs and Border Patrol, it's the office that makes sure that everybody that wants to come in comes in legally, and so they work at the border, at the pedestrian borders in Canada and Mexico. They also work at all the airports, and they also work at all the seaports. When you take a cruise, if you go outside the country and you come back, you have to see a Customs and Border Patrol officer, and we call them CBP officers. And when you go through the airport in an international flight, you have to see a CBP officer. And when you go to Mexico or Canada in your car and you come back, you have to see a CBP officer. So those are CBP officers. Their job is not to deport immigrants from the United States. Their job is to ensure that everybody who comes legally, and to, of course, remove whoever tries to come without papers. So then there is another office called ICE. ICE, it's Immigrations and Customs Enforcement. The word enforcement tells you what is that they do. They make sure that they catch and remove anybody who is deportable. So who is deportable? Deportable is an undocumented immigrant. Deportable is an immigrant who has an employment authorization but has violated the terms of his employment authorization. Deportable is a legal permanent resident who has committed a crime that makes him deportable. So all of those are deportable immigrants, and it is ICE's job to remove them from the United States. So far, so good? If you're following me, please let me know. If you are understanding what I'm saying, please write a note to me saying, Kathia, I get it. Every time you interact with me, then there is more chances that the video will be seen by more immigrants. So the whole idea behind Immigration with Kathia is that we spread the love. So please help me spread the love. Interact with me, subscribe, and share, and let us help more and more immigrants in English too. Because I've been doing this in Spanish for 2 years, but now I'm excited that I get to do it in English. Okay, so I explained to you how the government works, the offices that they have, and then the other side is the cities in some states who are sanctuary cities because they don't agree with the idea that we're just going to remove people just to remove them. They think that the way the government is doing its job is not the right one. So the cities have decided that they're not going to cooperate, that they're not going to help. So now, right now, the government is saying, okay, if you don't do what I want, then I'm not going to give you money. And that is in litigation. The states have said, no, that's not right. You cannot do that. So let's go to court. Then the government has said, has tried to do other things against these sanctuary cities. And the cities have answered with more litigation. And so the government has decided that they're going to do something else. And they've said, okay, we are going to send CBP officers, the officers that work at the border, we're going to send them inside the states, these sanctuary cities. So they're going to help by doing the job of the ICE officers. And that way, we're going to remove more people. Those are the news. And I know your first reaction might be to be scared and to be anxious because there's going to be more ICE officers. But the truth is, some news say 50, some news say 100 officers. This is a very small number of officers. There is not enough ICE officers in the United States for the amount of undocumented immigrants there is. So right now, ICE officers, as much as they want to give the appearance that, they want to deport everybody, that's not possible. They don't have the manpower to do that. So they do concentrate in those who have a criminal record or who are in violation of an order of deportation or an order of voluntary departure. So we're going to talk about that because I really hope that after listening to what I have to say, you will let go of the fear and the anxiety that all these news create. While it is true that the government is taking these measures against undocumented immigrants, the truth is that neither 50 nor 100 CBP officers are gonna really do a big dent in the undocumented population because we're millions, and this is not the right way to cure the problem. The right way to cure the problem of undocumented immigration is to do immigration reform, and that is our main goal. So why do I say that this having 50 or 60 or 100 officers is not going to be a big dent? Well, it is. We probably are going to hear in the news that they are doing operations against targeting people. But who are their targets? Who are the people that they can find? Well, their targets are normally people with criminal histories. So if you don't have a criminal history, if you are not in violation of an order of deportation and you don't get in trouble, you have all the chances that they will not get a hold of you, right? Unless they come to your house looking for somebody else and they find you. But I mean, generally, you are not much at risk. If you don't get in trouble and you continue not getting in trouble, you won't be touched by these measures of the government. If you have a criminal record, or you are in violation of an order of deportation, this is the right time to talk to an immigration lawyer. You really not need to talk to someone in person, because a lawyer may tell you if there is any chance to reopen your criminal case, to do some kind of post-conviction relief. The immigration lawyer may tell you if it is possible to reopen your deportation and do something about it. So don't just sit down with the bad news. Oh, okay, Kathia, I have an order of deportation, so I'm doomed, or I have a criminal record. No, that's not the right attitude. You need to seek help and look for an immigration lawyer. It's not going to be me. I'm not going to give you my phone number or my address, because I'm not selling anything. All I want to do is help you. So please don't take it the wrong way. I'm not selling anything. I just want to help you. So even if you are, if you have a prior order of deportation, or if you have a criminal record, if you behave, and if you don't get in trouble and you don't expose yourself by going to places where you know people may get in trouble, and then your chances of getting in contact with an ICE officer or one of these CBP officers are very little. Now, the CBP officers that are coming are officers that are specifically trained to, they're called the Borat team, and they're specifically trained to fight drug cartels and human trafficking smugglers. So these are very important officers for the Customs and Border Patrol. And I don't think this will last very long, sending them to inside these states, because their job is too much more important at the borders. We really need to protect the borders from drug cartels and human traffickers. So it'll be really a waste of resources for the government to bring them inside the United States to look and search and find undocumented immigrants who are no harm to anyone. So I really hope that this won't last very long, because we will be getting more drugs and more human traffickers, and that problem is much more important than having an undocumented immigrant who is here just to work and support his family. So you have to understand that all of these news are in the middle of an election, and so this has a lot of political tone. So please don't let fear take over. Don't let your anxiety take over. These are not good news, but I really don't think are news that should take over our peace and tranquility. So I hope that the explanation about this news was easy to understand for you. Please let me know. I am going to try to see if I find questions in English, and I will answer them. And you should stay, because it's fun to learn about immigration laws through the questions of our friends. Let me put this away. Let me see. Hello, hello, hello. I am, hola, hola. To all of those who always listen to me in Spanish, thank you. Thank you for your support. We really need to share this information with our English-speaking friends, because that's the whole idea behind doing this show. How long does it take to get an interview on immigration based on marriage with a U.S. citizen? I also have a petition for 3 kids under 15, but they are in Venezuela. Okay, so there are different, you are asking me 2 different questions, because if you're inside the United States and your U.S. citizen husband has filed a petition for you, you will have an interview inside the United States, and that interview, depending on where do you live, may take anywhere between 8 months and 18 months right now. And how do you find out? Well, you have to go to the government's website, uscis.gov, and you can check processing times, and that way you can find out how long is it taking. Now, that 3 kids in Venezuela, it's a complete different process. It's called consular processing, and right now it may take anywhere from 1.5 years to 2.5 years. So please seek the help of a lawyer, especially with Venezuela. The embassy is a big mess, and So you want to talk to a lawyer who will help you navigate the consular processing world, that it's going to be complicated in an easier way. I'm glad I could help, Anna. Let me see. I don't see any more questions in English. Remember, this show is in English, so we have to answer only English questions. Does the public charge apply to parole-in-place applicants? It depends. If the immigrant is the spouse of an active military, then then the parole-in-place applies, but we don't look at 125% over the poverty guidelines. We only look at 100%, and it's easier. It's easier, even though they may make an argument. The fact that it's the spouse of an active military makes everything easier. But if the parole-in-place is for a parent of a military, yes, public charge applies. And if it's a child of an active military, then it's easier. But if it's the child of a veteran or the spouse of a veteran, then the public charge applies. Janet says, since it's tax season, I'm stay-home mom. I don't work. I don't file. My husband does with our 3 children. And I was wondering, since I don't do that, I will hinder my application. If you don't work, if you are a stay-home mom, you need to file jointly with your husband. So I hope that you're doing it, because that will be the right way to do it. You should not be letting your husband file on his own with the kids, because that's not right. You need to file with your husband. And one of the reasons why tax preparers will recommend that you don't do it with your husband is because you will lose some of the credits, because especially if you don't have a social security number. But that's not a good reason. If you are in the process of fixing your papers, please file with your husband. I do have a tax place for immigrants. It's called Futuro Tax. If you go into Facebook, if you Google Futuro Tax, you're going to find information. The tax preparers at Futuro Tax are people who have been trained by me, not only on taxes, but also on immigration. And whenever they have questions, they contact me. So I recommend that you contact a place like mine, like Futuro Tax. Let me see if I find any more questions in English. Again, thank you for being here today. To all those who wrote questions in Spanish, I'm so sorry, but I can answer those questions Monday to Friday at 8:30 in the morning during our live show in Spanish. But this is a space for our English-speaking friends. And I thank you for being here today. And I hope to do this next Monday if God allows. So thank you, and have a wonderful day. Bye.